Next question with Nitin Ram. Many of us have this question. Yes, there are multiple paths, techniques, approaches available towards stable peace. Each of them, depending on where a person is,
Yeah.
could be helpful, very helpful.
Yeah.
But is any of them absolutely essential?
Yeah.
So, and if not, what is absolutely essential? So, 4 or 5 that are usually thought of as approaches. One is a living guru. Obviously, having a living guru is a highly efficient way. Somebody who's gone there and who has been there and who can diagnose and who can hold your hand is obviously a very efficient way to quickly go
Yeah.
wherever you need to go.
Yeah.
The question is not that where a guru is very, very useful,
Yeah.
a living guru.
Yeah.
The question is the guru essential? Is everybody in the world who has become spiritual, whether they needed a living guru?
Yeah.
Right? That is the question. Okay, similarly, yeah, for many people, there is devotion. Yeah, you find peace in devotion, you find this in devotion, you find that in devotion. And it is said that many sages, just by chanting name and through their complete merging with, saying, like, for example, in this part of the world, the most famous name is Vitthal. Just by chanting the name, these people, intense devotion, went into that.
Yes.
Right? But that was meant for them.
Yeah.
It is not essential, because some people may not have gone said Vitthal and they still may have gone.
Yes.
Right? Similarly, number 3, nowadays we have a lot of techniques that people talk about. It could be chanting, it could be meditations of different kinds, and who knows what, right? Obviously, they do have temporary benefits, maybe long-term benefits.
Yes.
And maybe some might even through that reach stable peace.
Yes.
But yes, helpful, efficient, is it essential? Then number 4, people think about service. If everything is one, then me treating everybody else as myself would be, and serving them could be, a way to diminish my
Smaller self.
focus on myself and make it into a larger and larger thing.
Yeah.
Of course, this too, for those who are inclined, is a very helpful, efficient way, but is it essential?
Okay.
So, a living guru, traditional devotion, different techniques, service, all can be helpful, all can be very efficient, and some might reach their final destination through some of them. It is also possible that has happened, but are any of them essential for everyone?
Yeah.
And if not, what is it that is essential for every man, no matter what path you have taken?
Yeah.
This is the question.
Yeah.
Right.
To begin with, I'll say, before going to the 4 points that you mentioned,
Right.
okay, meditations or the devotion, or the first one was
Living guru. Right.
Or the seva.
Yeah.
Okay. Before going into those, I'll say there is one thing most important, fundamental thing. If that is there within a person, one most important thing, if that is there to the 100-degree in a person, he or she may not need all of those 4.
Okay, and I'm eager to know what that is.
It is the deepest urge to merge. Urge to merge. What do I mean by urge to merge? One of my very old quotes goes, "What is love?" I was once asked, "What is love?" In a different way, I have said one thing that love is an urge to merge. Urge to merge. Urge of a droplet to merge into an ocean. The urge of a finite to merge into infinite. To urge of a visible to merge into invisible, which happens according to experience of all of us, that happens during the deep sleep of 8 hours. And that's why we find peace. We find it very peaceful. So that experience, all of us got that experience. We are experienced. I'm not showing you something which is not possible, which is somewhere in the clouds,
Right.
which has happened only to somebody thousands of years ago. I'm saying it's your experience, it's your experience, it's experience of everybody. The bliss of getting merged into the infinite. So the one thing, and it is the degree of that urge to merge in each person defines whether that person is going to get the stable peace or not, or when he or she is going to get the stable peace or not. So the one and one most important thing is that urge to merge. The quote went on a different level, on a non-duality level. The first portion of the quote was, love is an urge to merge. Love is an urge to merge. And love, this is the beginning. Urge to merge is the basic. This is a prerequisite. This is a prerequisite, and this is exactly opposite of our material world. I say it in a different way. The material world, the table of material world is 2 into 2 by 4, 2 by 3, 6, 2 by 4, 8, 2 by 5, 10. So, in Marathi, let me say something. संसार हा प्राप्तीचा विषय आहे. अध्यात्म हा तृप्तीचा विषय आहे.
Okay, so let me translate that.
Yes.
To the best of my ability.
Yeah.
Samsara, that is worldly life,
Yes.
is to get.
Yes. To get and gain.
To get and gain.
Gain.
Whereas Adhyatma, that means spiritual practice, what is the word that you use in Marathi?
Trupti.
Trupti. Complete contentment.
Yes. Complete contentment, and a droplet, when gets merged with the ocean, it becomes ocean. So it's contented.
Right.
So the droplet get merged into the infinite, that is our smaller self, that small self which is awake during the 18 hours, 16 hours waking state, get merged into that which is there for 24 hours, but not cognized by us because we are engaged in the physical activities.
Right.
So urge to merge, the beginning of the quote, let me repeat it. Love is an urge to merge, and love is that final. What is love? This is a small love. This is a beginning, prerequisite. You want admission to the college or university, you have to fill up a form. So if you are interested, you are saying for a stable peace or something or what, blah, 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 whatever you may call it, that which is eternal. Give name peace or bliss or happiness or contentment or
Stable
stillness
peace.
or
Stable peace.
stable peace or stillness.
Yeah.
The label will change,
Yeah.
but those labels, you want it permanently. Stable is permanently. Yes. Permanently. So the second quote of the portion of the quote was, first was, love is an urge to merge, and love is that. And love is that which prevails after total dissolution.
Yes.
So beginning is a small love, that the small self is getting merged with the ocean, with your real self, with our real self. And what happens after that? काय उरतं, काही उरत नाही, काहीतरी नुरतं. But that what remains, Nothing remains. But it is that nothing which is everything.
All right. Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah. So, if I have to summarize what you said about all these practices, Guru, Seva, whatever, whether they are useful or not is a separate story.
Yeah.
Maybe useful, maybe not. The basic requirement, as you've been driving,
Yes.
there has to be, and you use the word 100 degrees.
Yes.
100 degrees is, unless the water reaches 100 degrees,
Yes.
it is not going to even start becoming steam, which is all pervasive.
Yes.
Right? Now, in order for to reach that 100 degrees, it has to be through inner intense urge,
Yes.
boiling urge.
Yes. Perfect.
Boiling urge. Boiling urge is the prerequisite.
Yes.
Boiling urge for what? Boiling urge for the one whoever wants stable peace or whatever it is, to merge.
Yes.
That is the beginning.
Yes.
And then the merging is the dissolution, stable, permanent peace regardless of situation,
Yes.
where everything is dissolved
Yes.
and what remains, as you said, nothing remains, but that nothing is everything. Have I summarized it?
Yes.
Okay.
Proper. Now the another thing aspect. Now I'll come to the 4 factors that you mentioned.
Right.
Okay. Assuming that someone is saying, I want a stable peace.
Yeah.
So he has got at least to certain degree of urge to merge.
Right.
Say 1 degree or 50 degrees or 70 degrees or 80 or 90.
Right.
Now, how will I know what kind of a degree anybody is? So what I am trying to say is, all these 4 things that you mentioned, I will introduce another concept. Basically, it was introduced to the spiritual world by, I think, Ramana. I don't know, maybe Ramana. Like, there are 4 levels of consciousness. Okay, 4 levels of consciousness. The whole world will find it in these 4 categories. One is a wet wood, one is a dry wood, one is a charcoal, and one is a gunpowder. Okay, so somebody is in the 1st standard, somebody is in the 5th standard, somebody is in a college level, somebody is on a maybe on a second, what you call it is a postgraduate. Somebody is in a PhD. Now, the practices, as you mentioned, like any of them are essential. It all depends on where you are. Somebody who is a gunpowder, if I may give you a couple of examples from the past. Say Jnaneshwar, at the age of 18, he was a gunpowder. So a mere word from his guru, a single word from the guru, was enough for him to get annihilated. Second example, Janaka, the King Janaka, father of Sita. Now, he was a gunpowder. A single word from his guru Ashtavakra was sufficient for him to get annihilated. So, some things are essential, but they all depend on where you are, whether you are a wet wood. If you are a wet wood, if somebody is a wet wood, ritualistic practices are given, because the intellectual, the words and the understanding of the brain, they are not capable. So for them, ritualistic things are given, that okay, do some japa or do something basically in order to engage, in order to forget that smaller self. So the processes given to the wet wood are different. The processes given to the dry wood would be different. The processes given to the charcoal will be different. And based on each each state of each person basically. The things will, something will be essential for somebody, something may not be essential for somebody. So, on a broader sense, first one has to understand where one stands.
Right.
If I may give another example, like a simple example, very, very ordinary example, like all of us want to go to office, go to work, we take bath and then we stand in front of a mirror, don't we? Don't we? Of course. How do we look? We have to look like in a normal way, like, am I looking okay? So, don't we need mirror every day? How do I look? Is it okay? All okay? Now, this is what is we have been doing for years and years together for how this body looks. Now, where do we stand inside? We need one mirror for that. Where we stand. And when we stand there, we understand without a mirror speaking, that's a speaking mirror. The mirror who talks, mirror who conveys, sometimes with words, sometimes without words, and that is called as Guru. You stand in front of a mirror, you do nothing. I call it as a satsang. Satsang, the meaning satsang by means sat means satya, the truth. Somebody who has arrived at truth, or rather somebody who has become truth. Merged into truth, as truth. That is satsang. So satsang is being with someone whose default setting is gratitude. Gratitude, what I mean by gratitude, that he has lost his begging bowl. When one loses one's begging bowl, grosser and subtler, the person falls into the universe of gratitude. That every moment I am getting, that sense of gratitude never leaves me for a moment. That why I am sitting here, why I am having the breaths. Every night I go to sleep, and why do I wake up in the morning, every morning? What is that I did during the night? Any virtuous thing that I was able to get a new breaths in the morning. That sense of gratitude spreads over, and that is unlimited. So satsang is being with somebody whose default setting is gratitude. Or I can say something, satsang is exactly like what happens in mother's womb. What happens in mother's womb? Where we do nothing and yet we get everything. Isn't it interesting? What happens in mother's womb? We do nothing, and because we do nothing, we get everything. If we had got this app called mind installed in the mother's womb, none of us would have been here. All of us would have been dead. Because then we would have said that, okay, I'm getting a good enough of food over here, good milk over here. Let me pip out and find out what kind of a food or a quality of milk is available outside. Let me go and check, confirm. Let me have a confirmation, and then I will come out of the womb. Had this happened, none of us would have been here. So satsang is being with someone whose default setting is gratitude, and it is exactly like that, like what happens for all of us in the mother's womb. It's our own experience, that where we have done nothing and yet we have received everything, whatever is necessary. That is the second portion. Another thing I would like to point out is that these practices are given by someone, whoever the mirror gives that practice, considering, thinking whoever is at what level of understanding, whatever is needed. Second point, I always ask people, it's very interestingly, I feel that for learning a basic mathematics, in order to understand basic mathematics, all of us have gone to school. We have done our 10th standard, a basic. I'll come till that only. what kind of understanding have we gathered by studying, say, first to 10th standard? Maybe 2 plus 2 is 4. 2 into 2 is 4. Grosser it is that. Is it more than that? Or maybe you know that when we have learned or studied geography, that okay, Himalaya is on the north and Kanyakumari is on the south. Or USA, sitting here in India, we can say, okay, USA is on the west. Or somebody sitting in USA thinks that, okay, India is on the east. That is the only knowledge what we have gathered. By doing 1 to 10 standard, by spending 10 years of our life, we have got that. And we have done that by going to a school, to 10 hundreds of teachers, to arrive at an understanding that 1 plus 1 is 2. My question for contemplation. Now, if we have spent 10 years of life to understand 1 plus 1 is 2, don't we need some teacher, some guide to understand where this 1 has come from? When someone says non-duality is not one, meaning of non-duality is Advaita, not two. So not to understand that, don't we need a teacher? Whatever it may be, can be a person, he can be a living guru, he can be a guru who is not living, but you get your like how what happens with all of us, like when we transfer data to each other. I have to transfer some data to you. There are different mediums, but the oldest one is a Bluetooth. When I sync my mobile, when we sync our mobiles to each other, then even though we are sitting in a big place, when your mobile and my mobile are synced, silently anything and everything will get transferred or not. Syncing with someone, to get sync with someone, and to that who is sync with the Absolute. That is what I mean by Guru. Okay. Getting sync with someone who looks like ours, but who is sync with the Absolute. And that's what I feel blessed that I found 2 of such masters, and I feel blessed. Like whatever happening, it's my, I cannot express my feeling that everything and anything happening, that every breath that is happening through me, in between, I see that my Guru is there. He is the driver of every breath of mine. So, it's a thing one has to contemplate, that to arrive at something which we call something constant. Like science, for example, like science. Now, for learning a science basically, like people say that, okay, science is something very, like a very big thing. But science is a changing phenomena, isn't it? Science is a changing phenomena. It's not constant. It is evolving, continuously evolving. So, the outer world, our material world or a physical world, is a changing world. Science, we call it as science. But the inner world, there is something unchangeable. And that unchangeable is that truth. And that is all of us. To arrive at that, in my opinion, to have the living Guru, I feel is the topmost priority if anybody can give. With so many examples, I have learned this. So many examples for somebody, because there are people who have been studying scriptures, different kinds of religious scriptures. Someone studies Bhagavad Gita, someone Quran, or some other like Bible, or so many, or maybe some Buddhist person will be studying a Buddhist scriptures. Going through a certain philosophy or certain approach through books and through other things other than a living Guru, you are less likely to wake up.
Or at least take a lot longer.
Lot longer time. Yeah. I remember a quote of American philosopher. His name was Wordsworth.
Oh, okay.
I think some Wordsworth. He said, studying of books for 10 years or 100 years is equal to a single meeting across the table with a wise man. What does that mean? It's a direct transmission. Another example. Let us come back again to the field, on the war field of Mahabharata. Why is it that Arjuna got transformed, said to have got transformed? Because his need was 100 degree, his urge to merge was 100 degree. Then, because his need went on 100 degree, at that point, he had that sense of discretion, parak, as I always say, parak.
Evaluation, ability to evaluate.
Ability to evaluate. Yeah. And then, because of that ability to evaluate, he found a person over there. He sat in front of him. And Krishna gave him what was needed to him. Right? So, the same thing happened in between Arjuna and Krishna, but as all of us know, that at some place, Dhritarashtra the king also was said to have been sitting, and Sanjay, who was gifted with the divine drushti,
vision,
divine vision by Maharshi Vyas. So through Sanjay television, he was gifted with the divine sight. Yeah. So through Sanjay, Dhritarashtra also heard Bhagavad Gita. All of us know. He is sitting on comforts at home. What was the change? Was there any transformation? So I keep on saying, reminding this one thing. दूरदर्शनामुळे दूर लांब बसून दर्शन घेतलंय. दूरदर्शनामुळे
डिस्टंट विजन,
दूरदर्शनामुळे करमणूक होते, पण आत्मदर्शनासाठी समोर यायला लागतं, जसा अर्जुन समोर गेला.
ओके, सो इफ आय कॅन ट्रान्सलेट दिस, थ्रू डिस्टंट व्ह्यूइंग यू गेट एंटरटेनमेंट.
येस.
थ्रू viewing in proximity,
yes,
you get inner transformation or inner vision.
Yes.
Right? Yeah.
Yes, inner vision. So the first point is I am trying to convey is that, of course, in my view, having a living guru, a blessed one will get this opportunity, a blessed one. Second is meditation, devotion. It all depends on a person. There are two types of people. There was a quote I remember once Friedrich Nietzsche has said, there are two types of people in the world. Two types in the world. One of the quotes of Nietzsche said that someone who think and someone who believe. The believers are the bhaktas, or someone who can easily trust. They can be put into the box of a devotion.
Okay.
Or somebody who is think are put in the box of a knowledge. So there are only two paths. So depending on what is your nature, inclination, and your inner nature, bhakti cannot be given to anybody. Knowledge can be given to anybody. Bhakti cannot be given to anybody. So when one arrives at the end of the knowledge portion, then bhakti will come up within. So bhakti is, as one of the oldest quote was, mind is a visiting faculty. Mind is a visiting faculty. Love is the premise. So all these 3 and 4, seva, it all depends on the nature of a person, and depending on that nature, essentiality or non-essentiality will depend. But if somebody is at that stage, and if he or she gets get the proximity of a living guru, I feel that is the you can say it's a blessing.
Most efficient way.
Most efficient way.
Okay.
Most efficient.
So now, I think you have said a lot of things. I will try my best to summarize. The prerequisite is, so you use two analogies. I'll pick one of them. One is okay. The first one is that do you have the urge? A strong urge, boiling urge.
Yes.
That is a essential factor towards hope of, I'm again using the word hope of stable peace. Now, depending on where one is in the boiling category
Yes.
and what one's personality is,
Yes. That's a trait.
a trait, a practice or teaching or a pointers could be given.
Yes.
For that, somebody who's already merged, who has already been there, done that, can help, offer a mirror,
Yes.
and can hold your hand and say, this is your personality, this is where you are, you do this. Somebody else, you do this. Somebody else, you do this. Somebody else, you do that. Or else you don't do anything, just single word is enough. Right? So, now, in this whole process, for those at the boiling level, if they happen to meet somebody with the right frequency, as you use the word,
Yes.
with the right frequency,
Yes.
their job is done.
Yes.
And the difficulty is most of us are not going to be there at that level, because at that level, whether the frequency is with the person who's no longer in this world or is in this world doesn't really matter. But for most of us who may not be at the boiling point, but who are perhaps close to it or want to be there,
Yes.
a living guru is the most efficient mirror
Yes.
that will make your life easier, as easy as perhaps, or as you gave the analogy of as a baby, or not even a baby, of
Fetus.
a fetus in the mother's womb, where you
Yes.
do nothing
Yes.
and all happens.
Yes.
That is the most efficient way.
Yes.
But even for that, the urge has to be there. And I guess, so it is the urge, its degree, and then having the good fortune of a teacher with the right frequency.
Yes.
That basically is the summary.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.